Hey guys, it's Tiny over at MAPerformance, and today we'll be taking out these and putting in some of these. Brought to you by our friends over at Fortunato. This thing is set to dumpy status right now. Some people might ask, Kyle, why don't you just raise the car up? My answer to that is I still have all of the ligaments and things that connect my body together, so I can still do this. You gotta make sure you put the right bolt in the right places. The best thing that you can do for yourself is to install coilovers immediately after purchasing the car, because everything goes together better. So, when you're factoring in, can I afford a 22 WRX? Can I afford a 22 BRZ? Can I afford X car? The next thing that you go into your brain is, well, how do I afford coilovers? How do I put that in my loan, right? Because that's how you're gonna set yourself up for success here. And when you're making that decision, head on over to MAPerformance.com. We've got a wide variety of coilovers from select brands, sure to fit any performance car that you're into. So you may be asking yourself, what's different between this new VB chassis versus the VA chassis, the previous chassis code that WRXs and STIs both sported? Main differences, while they are subtle, they are important, because you cannot take a VA chassis coilover and just slap it on your new VB WRX. The two biggest differences are the spread of the bolts of the top hat is actually a wider diameter, and then the location where the sway bar mounts is different. On the VA chassis, if you guys remember, mounted to the lower control arm. These chassis, they mount to the strut themselves. So there are some subtle differences here, and you need to make sure you purchase the correct coilover for your chassis. So, the next portion of our install is going to be removing the factory sway bar end links so we can install the new. Xavier, wanna throw me those? The sway bar end links right there. Yep, throw. These guys, which are adjustable sway bar end links, this is due to the fact that, like we said earlier, the sway bar end link is mounted to the strut on these chassis, and it is important that you ensure that the height in which your sway bar is, it's jammed up right now, but the height in which your sway bar is sitting in the chassis remains the same as factory. That way the sway bar acts as factory. So if you've ever installed a coilover on a car before and you're thinking about installing coilovers on your new WRX, this is pretty much as easy as it gets. There's nothing that's really gonna pop out at you or be kind of a pain. Like I said, especially if your car is brand new, which if you're watching this video in the year 2020, or even, once you get to about 2030 and you're still watching this video, then maybe you're gonna have a hard time. But honestly, there's no real surprises. These install almost exactly the same as the previous generation, with the added step of, having different sway bar end links. Aside from that, this is the same game we're playing here. So like before, the rear is just as easy as the front. Now I'm gonna let you in on a little trick here that I always do with these cars. So if you notice, I'm pulling the bolt out towards the front of the car. This one in particular is pretty close to the arm here. I always flip these. So I do bolts in first, nut on the other side. Don't know why they're like this from the factory. I think it's way easier to do it this way. If somebody wants to roast me about changing it, fight me. So, now we've removed 3 bolts from the sway bar. This will give us ample room to go like this. So we'll do the other side, and then we'll go into the trunk and show you how to remove the top bolts, and then it's the inverse process to reinstall the new ones. So we'll do that now. We're gonna put some freaking coilovers in here. Please don't put that in the video. That's embarrassing. So now what you want to do is take your fancy dancy push pin tool and take these out. Now what you're gonna make sure you're gonna do later is put these back in so you don't have a bunk interior. There we go. Easy as cake, easy as pie, easy as ABC 1, 2. All right, so now this is out. You take this, throw it to the side, because you never need it again, because we're all about the fitment, we're all about the stance, we're all about the performance, and you're gonna go get yourself your nice Fortunato coilovers, and you're gonna put them things in your car, and then you're gonna be done. And you're gonna look sick. All right, so now you have your Fortunato coilover ready to go in the car. Quick check that I always like to do before I put either front or rear coilovers in, just make sure that the length of the coilover is the same. Side to side, you don't gotta worry about front and rear, they're always gonna end up different. But side to side, make sure your coilovers are the same length. It's gonna save you a bunch of time when you go to set the height on the car. So I always like to double check, make sure they're the same length, and then go ahead and pop them in. So something I've seen in the comments mentioned a couple times that I wanted to bring to some of you guys' attention that may not know this. When you're installing coilovers, it's really important that when you do your final tightening of all of the suspension bolts, especially the ones on the control arms, you're going to want to tighten them when the vehicle is at ride height. You do this to ensure that all of the rubber bushings aren't under any kind of tension once the car is actually settled. This can lead to like premature wear of the bushings. It also can bind your suspension up a little bit. So something we don't usually show on camera, and I just wanted to talk about so people knew about, is you can either lower the car onto blocks or use like a screw jack or even a floor jack to raise the suspension up a little bit, run your bolts in tight, and then you're all good from there. So it's just something you want to think about when you're putting coilovers in. A little good tech tip to throw in there for the day. We're pretty much wrapped up here, so we'll show us final installing these, and then probably get to some, not probably, going to get to some road footage of this car on the sweet new wheels that are going to go along with it.
All right, so the coilovers have been on the car now for, I'd say, about 2 weeks, and it's all settled in. The ride height's been adjusted to where we like it. And let me tell you, the first impression, at least from a looks perspective, is that the car looks a million times better with the lower suspension look. Getting rid of that wheel gap made a huge difference. On top of that, obviously we added the Aeroflow Dynamics lip kit, and it looks absolutely incredible now with the coilovers installed, giving it that lower look, the lip kit making it feel a little bit more aggressive, and honestly the bronze TEs might be the perfect wheel for this car. But with all that being said, I'm sure the number one thing everybody wants to know is, well, with the coilovers on the car, how do they feel? I'll tell you this much, from initial reaction standpoint, they feel phenomenal. I'm really excited to get this car up on the track so we can do some comparison road course testing to see how it performs versus its configuration in stock. Now, we've got a few more parts we're going to put on before we take it up to the track day. Just some different braking components. If you want to check that video out, make sure you subscribe and stay tuned. However, I'd say that if I was to daily drive the car on these coilovers, like I'm sure most people do, this would be an awesome option for me. The Fortunatos get the pass in my book. So yeah, you guys, as we were saying, the car handles phenomenally. As you can see, it looks absolutely insane. I love the way this looks. Again, I know everybody's gonna comment about the black fenders, and we've got a response for those. We've actually got 2 different responses for those. So if you're curious to see how we fix the fender arch problem, make sure you go ahead and subscribe, hit that notification bell, give us a thumbs up, leave us a comment down below if you like this type of content. If you guys want to see some more from us, make sure you let us know what you like and what you don't. Otherwise, we'll see you in the next one. Peace.